Number 1. Machiavelli and the silent beginning of decline. You don't wake up one day and suddenly find your life in ruins. It starts in the smallest, quietest moments you keep pretending don't matter. Decline doesn't kick down the door. It slips in through the cracks you refuse to seal. The first crack is always internal. That one time you know you should speak up, but you stay quiet, not out of strategy, but out of fear. That meeting where someone talks over you and you tell yourself it's not worth it. That message you shouldn't tolerate, but you laugh it off to avoid drama. You call it being mature. It's not maturity. It's the soft surrender of your position. Machiavelli understood something harsh. Power doesn't vanish, it's taken, piece by piece, from the man who stops defending it. You begin to fall the moment you value comfort over control, peace over principles, feelings over facts. You tell yourself life is fine. That word is poison. Fine is where men go to sleep while their position is slowly auctioned off. While you scroll, someone studies. While you hesitate, someone decides. While you wait for motivation, someone executes with discipline. You think you're staying in place, but you're not. The world is moving, and standing still is just a slower way of losing ground. The silent beginning of decline is when excuses start sounding reasonable. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I'll start when things calm down. Things won't calm down. Life doesn't clear the path for you. You carve it, or you get buried under it. Right now, there are people who underestimate you, and they're right to, because you underestimate yourself first. You delay, you negotiate with your own standards, you betray your potential in private, and then feel confused when the world reflects that back to you. Understand this. Every day you either reinforce your edge or erode it. There is no neutral. You're either becoming harder to replace, harder to move, harder to manipulate, or you're getting softer, more predictable, easier to ignore. The reason you're still listening is because a part of you knows the slide has already started. You feel it in those quiet moments at night when the noise dies and the truth shows up. Good, don't run from that. Sit in it, because this is where it changes. It begins when you decide that nothing about your position is guaranteed, that everything can be taken, and that you will live like a man who understands that. This is the first step out of decline and into power. Ruthless awareness. Number 2, let's strip away the illusion and talk about the early tremors, the subtle signals that your decline has already started. Weak men only notice disaster when it's loud, when something breaks, when they lose the job, lose the woman, lose the respect. You won't have that luxury. You're going to learn to see the hairline fractures before the collapse. How? By watching how the world adjusts around you. Respect doesn't disappear in a day. It takes a small step back. People interrupt you a little more often. They respond slower to your messages. They forget your boundaries and call it a misunderstanding. Your time becomes negotiable. Your presence becomes optional, and you, desperate to avoid discomfort, smile through it. That's not kindness. That's decay. The world is always testing you, probing your edges, like a predator testing a fence. A small push here, a subtle violation there, just to see if you hold. When you don't, they don't say anything. They simply update their internal map. He doesn't enforce his standards. I can push further. That's how decline starts. Not when someone disrespects you, but when you let it pass without consequence, without even registering what just happened. Machiavellian thinking demands cold observation. No drama, no emotional story, just data. Who speaks over you? Who jokes at your expense and watches how you react? Who only reaches out when they need something? Who gets comfortable being late with you, but never with those they truly respect? These aren't random quirks. They are metrics of how you're ranked in their internal hierarchy. And then there's the deeper betrayal, the one you commit against yourself. How many times have you told yourself, this is the last time I slack off, and then repeated it like a ritual? How often do you say, I'll start tomorrow, knowing damn well tomorrow is just a word you use to delay your own evolution? Every time you do that, you chip away at something critical. Your self-trust. When a man can't trust himself to do what he says, his confidence is nothing but performance, and the world sees it even if they can't articulate it. They sense the gap between your words and your reality. That gap is where your decline breeds. So from now on, I want you to audit ruthlessly. Not in theory, not in your head, on paper. Where are people crossing lines with you? Where are you letting yourself off the hook? Which environments make you small, and why do you keep returning to them? Don't romanticize it. Don't justify it. Just write it down. Because once it's in front of you, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. The man who can see decline while it's still quiet is the man who can reverse it. Everyone else waits for the crash. You're not everyone else, remember that, if you choose to be. Number 3, now we tear into the part of you that has been running the show without your consent. Your emotions. You've been told your whole life to feel everything, to express yourself, to be open, as if bleeding in public is a virtue. It isn't. Uncontrolled emotion is not depth. It's leverage for anyone ruthless enough to use it. Machiavelli would say it simply, the man who reacts is ruled by the man who doesn't. Look back at your worst decisions, your biggest humiliations. How many of them were born from a moment where you felt too much and thought too little? You chased when you should have walked away. You exploded when you should have observed. You confessed when you should have stayed silent. That's not fate. That's poor control. Dark psychology is not magic. It's pattern. People look for your triggers, your insecurities, your pressure points. They notice what makes you raise your voice, what makes you over-explain, what makes you eagerly prove yourself. Then they push those buttons whenever they want to steer you. You can't become untouchable while remaining this readable. From now on, your emotions are not commands, they're signals. Anger rises, you don't discharge it immediately like a child. You log it. This person is threatening my status, my boundaries, or my sense of control. That's data. Jealousy cuts into you. You don't stalk, cling, or beg. You decode it. They have something I desire. Is it skill, position, leverage? What's the structural gap between us? Fear starts to choke you? You don't retreat into procrastination dressed as overthinking. You interrogate it. What specific outcome am I afraid of, and how do I reduce its power? Stoicism is not pretending you don't feel. It's refusing to let feelings dictate your moves. You become the man who can sit in discomfort without flinching, who can feel rage without broadcasting it, who can feel attraction without losing his frame. On the outside, you stay composed. Few words, slow tone, steady eyes. On the inside, you are a silent analyst running diagnostics. And here's the twist. The more emotionally quiet you become in your reactions, the louder everyone else becomes. People reveal themselves when their usual hooks stop working on you. They get frustrated. They escalate. They slip. They show you what they really want: control, attention, validation, submission. You will start to notice how much of human interaction is just manipulation done unconsciously. You won't hate it. You'll simply stop participating in it as prey. You will not rant to strangers about your problems. You will not dump your fears into group chats looking for sympathy. You will not hand over your inner world to people who haven't earned your trust. Your mind is not a public square. It's a war room. Let them guess what you feel. Let them misread your silence. Every wrong assumption they make about you builds your advantage. The less they know, the less they can touch. Number 4, power loves masks, and you've been walking through life barefaced, wondering why you keep getting cut. Listen carefully. The world you move in is not built on truth, it's built on perception. Machiavelli understood that a ruler doesn't need to be truly virtuous. He only needs to appear that way when it serves him. You, on the other hand, insist on being yourself in every room, with every person, at every moment. That's not authenticity, that's tactical stupidity. Right now, people can read you like an open document. They see when you're nervous, your hands fidget, your voice speeds up, your eyes drop for half a second when someone with more presence walks in. They see when you're desperate for approval, you laugh too quickly, agree too easily, over-explain your intentions. You call it being honest. They call it leverage. Understand this. Mystery is not a personality trait. It's a strategic decision. From this point on, your first project is your mask. Not a fake persona, not corny alpha performance. A controlled interface. The version of you the world deals with before they earn access to the man behind it. That mask moves slowly. It doesn't rush to fill silence. It doesn't bend itself to fit every room. It asks more questions than it answers. It listens, watches, collects. When someone pushes you, the mask doesn't flinch. It holds eye contact, keeps the tone low, responds in fewer words, not more. You will stop explaining yourself to people who aren't in a position to judge you. You will stop narrating your anxiety in real time. You will stop telling strangers what scares you, what scarred you, what you crave. Let therapists and proven allies have parts of that. Not colleagues, not acquaintances, not people who haven't bled for you. Here's the dark psychological truth. People project strength or weakness onto what they can't fully read. If they don't know what rattles you, they have to guess. And most people will err on the side of assuming you're more collected than you really are. That assumption buys you room, power, time. You are not required to be fully seen by everyone. Stop acting like you are. Your kindness can be real. Your humor can be real. Your decency can be real. But your fears, your doubts, your desperation for connection, those go behind the walls. You reveal yourself in layers, and only to those who have proven loyalty over time, through action, not words. Everyone else? They get the mask, calm, grounded, selectively open, ruthlessly private. You're not here to be relatable. You're here to become a man no one can play easily. The unreadable are harder to move, and the harder you are to move, the closer you get to being untouchable. Number 5, power isn't just muscle, money, or status, it's information. And you've been giving yours away like a fool handing out free weapons. Machiavellian thinking thrives on asymmetry. I know more about you than you know about me. That gap is where control lives. Right now, you reverse it. You volunteer your plans before they're built. You tell people your goals, your struggles, your fears, hoping they'll understand, support, or validate you. Some might. Most will simply store that data. Dark Psychology 101. What people know about you, they can use on you, now or later. You must become a collector, not a broadcaster. In every room, your first move is not to impress, it's to observe. Who interrupts others and gets away with it? Who everyone subconsciously defers to? Who flatters up and punches down? Who always has a harmless joke that puts someone slightly beneath them? These aren't quirks, they are tells. You watch how people talk about those who aren't present. That's exactly how they'll talk about you when you're gone. You notice who is obsessed with status, who is addicted to drama, who can't control their reactions, who needs attention like oxygen. All of these are levers. You don't need to pull them yet. You just need to know where they are. Meanwhile, you stop giving the world a blueprint of your mind. You don't announce every move. You don't explain your routines. You don't share your next step with people who haven't shown they can protect your last one. You shift from "look what I'm going to do" to "look what I've already done." Finished work, not forecasts. Results, not promises. And when you do speak, you do it with intent. You ask precise questions that make people reveal themselves. What do you think of him? How did that make you feel? What would you have done differently? They'll answer casually, not realizing they're exposing how they think, how they justify, how they blame, how they avoid responsibility. You store all of it, not for petty revenge, but for strategic clarity. You want to know who can be given responsibility, who is only good for short-term use, who should never be trusted with anything that matters. At the same time, you put a lock on your own vulnerabilities. You stop trauma dumping to acquaintances. You stop ranting in group chats. You stop seeking emotional relief by oversharing. That habit doesn't heal you. It weakens your frame. You deal with your problems in controlled spaces and with selective people. To everyone else, you present stability, even when you're under pressure. Because here's the truth. The man who knows more, speaks less, and reveals little is the hardest to predict, the hardest to corner, and the hardest to break. From now on, your mind is not a public diary. It's a classified file. Let them speculate. Let them guess. While they talk, you watch. While they share, you learn. While they reveal, you record. That's how information stops being your weakness and becomes your silent weapon. Number 6. Power is not a lone wolf fantasy. It's a network engineered with precision, and you've been navigating people either naively or bitterly. Both are weak positions. Machiavelli never wrote for isolated martyrs. He wrote for rulers embedded in systems, surrounded by allies, enemies, and everything in between. Understand this. You will never be untouchable if your entire life depends on one person, one job, one approval, one circle. The game of influence is built on 3 types of figures: gatekeepers, decision makers, and carriers. Gatekeepers control access: assistants, managers, moderators, social connectors. Decision makers control outcomes: leaders, owners, investors, authority figures. Carriers control information: gossip channels, social butterflies. The harmless ones always in the know. You must learn to see who is who in every environment you enter. Then you move with strategy. You don't try to charm everyone. That's the behavior of a man starving for validation. You identify who actually has leverage and who only looks like they do. With decision makers, you don't act like a fan. You don't pedestal them. You don't shower them with praise. You stand out by being reliable, discreet, and competent. You say little and deliver exactly what you promise, without drama. With gatekeepers, you show respect. Not fake flattery, but genuine recognition of their role. You understand they can make your path effortless or obstruct it completely, often with a word or a click. You never disrespect the person who opens the door while trying to impress the one sitting inside. With carriers, you keep them close but controlled. You give them small, harmless truths and watch how they travel. You never give them anything that could cripple you if repeated. You use them to monitor the temperature of the room. Who's threatened by you? Who's curious? Who's dismissive? And yet, through all this, you remain detached. Alliances are useful, but they are not sacred. Don't confuse convenience for loyalty or proximity for protection. A Machiavellian mind understands that most people act in their own interest, and their interest will not always include you. So you build redundancy. You never let your survival hinge on one favor, one connection, one mentor. You create multiple channels, multiple options, multiple exits. You become someone that others prefer having on their side, not because you're endlessly agreeable, but because you bring value and you're not chaotic. You don't gossip downward. You don't leak private information. You don't collapse under pressure. That earns a special kind of respect. The "I may not love him, but I'd rather not be against him" kind. That's enough. You don't need everyone to like you. You only need a few powerful people to understand that crossing you comes with a cost, and that standing beside you comes with benefits. But never forget, the foundation beneath all of this is independence. Financial, emotional, strategic. If losing one person, one job, or one group would cripple you, you are not powerful. You are hostage. Your mission is simple. Build your network as a fortress, not a cage. Use people as they use you. Mutual benefit, clear boundaries, no illusions. Appreciate loyalty, but never worship it blindly. Because the day someone believes you can't function without them is the day they begin to test just how much power they have over you. And you will never let anyone feel that secure holding your strings again. Number 7, you can absorb all the philosophy you want, but if your habits are weak, you are just an educated victim. Decline starts in the mind, but it finishes in your routine. You say you want to be powerful, dangerous, untouchable, but your day-to-day life looks like a civilian on autopilot. Wake up late, scroll, rush, complain, repeat. You're not outplayed by geniuses, you're outworked by people who simply show up when you don't feel like it. Machiavellian thinking without discipline is just fantasy. Strategy requires a vessel strong enough to execute again and again without needing applause. Stoicism is not an aesthetic quote over a dark background. It's you doing what must be done when you are tired, angry, unmotivated, bored. Feelings are weather, standards are climate. Your feelings can shift by the hour, your standards cannot. From now on, your life gets a structure, not a vibe. You wake up earlier than your distractions. You train your body until it stops being fragile. Not for vanity, for leverage. A weak body sends a silent message. I don't respect myself enough to maintain my own vehicle. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, but you do need strength, endurance, posture that tells the world you are not easy to move. Then your mind. You stop consuming junk information disguised as staying updated. You read what compounds, strategy, psychology, finance, history. You study how power is built, how it's lost, and how most men sabotage themselves without help from any enemy. One focused hour of reading daily over a year will separate you from 99% of people who can't sit still without stimulation. You also lock in non-negotiables, things you do every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Training, focused work, learning, silence. You don't renegotiate them with your mood. And when you break your word to yourself, which you will at times, you don't drown in guilt or self-hatred. You correct fast. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about rapid course correction. Miss one day, you don't miss two. Slip once, you don't build an identity around it. Dark psychology applies to you too. Your brain is always watching your behavior, deciding whether to believe you. Every time you say, I'm serious this time, and then fold, you train your own mind to treat your words as noise. That's why your confidence feels fake. It is. You haven't given yourself evidence, so build it. Stack small, brutal, undeniable proof that when you decide something, you follow through. Don't announce it. Don't post it. Don't celebrate too early. Let the scoreboard be private. Let the world wonder where this new edge came from. Understand this. There is no version of you that is powerful and undisciplined. None. Power is built in the unglamorous hours, when nobody is watching, when no one is clapping, when it's just you versus the urge to stay the same. Most men lose that battle quietly and then blame the world. You will win it repeatedly until your reality has no choice but to adjust to the man you've become. Number 8. It's time we talk about conflict, the arena where most men expose exactly how breakable they are. You've spent most of your life either ducking confrontation or drowning in it, reacting like a bomb, or folding like paper. Both are forms of weakness. A Machiavellian mind treats conflict like a scalpel, not a grenade. Controlled, precise, intentional. You don't lash out at everyone who irritates you. That's emotional poverty. You don't avoid every clash to keep the peace. That's cowardice dressed up as maturity. Power lives in your ability to decide when to strike, when to ignore, and when to quietly rearrange the board. Here's the truth. People will always test you. They'll make slick comments, push your boundaries, forget agreements, undermine you in subtle ways just to see how far they can go. If you never push back, they mark you as soft. If you always explode, they mark you as unstable. Either way, they stop respecting you. From now on, you treat every violation as data. When someone crosses a line, you don't whine. You don't emotionally overshare. You don't beg them to understand how wrong they are. You state your boundary calmly and briefly. That doesn't work for me. Don't do that again. We're not going to continue if it's like this. No essays, no speeches. Then you enforce it with action, distance, removal of access, refusal to participate, denied benefits. That's how people actually learn. The dark psychological reality is this. Most humans don't change out of empathy. They change out of consequence. You teach them not with your feelings, but with your behavior. At the same time, you develop the discipline to let some things slide. Not out of fear, but out of strategy. Not every jab deserves a counterpunch. Sometimes responding gives a person status they don't deserve, attention they're starving for, or information about what gets under your skin. You are not here to react to every pebble thrown your way. You choose your battles based on impact, not ego. Ask yourself in each conflict, if I engage, do I gain control or do I feed chaos? Do I reinforce my position or drain my energy? If the answer is chaos, you starve it. You pull back your time, your presence, your emotional investment. Silence is not weakness when it's chosen. It's a form of dominance. And understand this, there will be times when you need to go to war, professionally, socially, personally. In those moments, you don't half-step. You move decisively with preparation. You document. You anticipate counters. You remain composed while the other side reveals their instability in real time. Win or lose, you don't beg. You don't grovel. You don't campaign for sympathy. You accept the cost of standing firm. That's what terrifies people the most. A man who isn't afraid to lose something in order to keep himself. That's the posture you're building. Not a loud, performative toughness, but a quiet, calculated willingness to defend your standards and, when necessary, walk away from anyone, anything, any environment that demands you abandon them. That is conflict turned into a weapon, not against your life, but in service of it. Number 9. Becoming untouchable is not about playing invincible. It's about becoming so structurally solid that even when you're hit, you don't shatter, you sharpen. Stop fantasizing about a life with no threats, no losses, no betrayals. That world doesn't exist. What does exist is a man who builds himself in a way that attacks lose their power. Start with this. Never hang your entire identity on one pillar. Not one job, not one relationship, not one status symbol, not one social circle. When your whole sense of self is tied to a single thing, you become easy to control, because anyone who can touch that thing can touch you. Machiavellian thinking demands redundancy, multiple skills, multiple income streams, multiple roles you can step into. You are not the job. You are the man who can create value in many arenas. You are not her man. You are a man who chooses who stands beside him. You are not the title. You are the engine that earned it. When one pillar cracks, the structure holds. Next, you cultivate emotional distance from outcomes. That doesn't mean being numb. It means wanting strongly, but not needing. Needing is where desperation lives. And desperation is where people start bending, begging, betraying themselves. You want the promotion, but you don't collapse if it doesn't come. You want the deal, but you don't sell your soul to secure it. You want the relationship, but you never forget you existed before it, and you will exist after it. Move with this sentence in your bloodstream. I desire this, but I remain whole without it. That's lethal because it strips others of the ability to dangle what you crave over your head. Then there's time, your most underrated weapon. The impulsive are always weak. They rush into alliances, arguments, contracts, commitments. You don't. You let situations breathe. You let masks slip. You let patterns emerge. You give people enough time to show you who they really are beneath the performance. The man who can wait without panicking is dangerous. While others react, you watch. While others demand answers now, you understand that silence and delay are answers too. Remember this, most traps rely on your inability to sit with uncertainty. Fix that, and you neutralize half the attacks that could touch you. Finally, you build an internal rule. Nothing and no one gets the power to define your worth. They can admire you, they can insult you, they can leave, they can stay. None of it rewrites your core assessment of yourself. Criticism becomes data, not a knife. Praise becomes a bonus, not oxygen. You own your narrative. You don't lease it to anyone else. That's what makes you hard to move. Not loud arrogance, but quiet certainty built on evidence. Your discipline, your resilience, your capacity to rebuild. Untouchable is not a look. It's an architecture, layered, redundant, unafraid of loss. You don't need life to stop being dangerous. You just need to stop being easy to damage. Number 10. This is the point where most men drift back to sleep and where a few decide to become something the world cannot casually touch. You've seen the pattern now. Decline starts in silence, in the compromises no one sees, in the lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable. You've seen how people test you, how emotions control you, how information betrays you, how discipline, or the lack of it, writes your future in advance. You've watched your old self through this lens. The man who overshares, overreacts, overexplains, and then wonders why he is overlooked, underestimated, or controlled. That version of you doesn't survive in the life you say you want. He has to go. What replaces him is not some cartoon villain or soulless machine. It's a man who moves with intent. A man who understands that power is not about shouting louder, but about needing less. needing less validation, less approval, less permission. You become the man who can sit alone with his plans and not rush to announce them. The man who can feel anger and not let it pick his next words. The man who can walk into any room knowing he doesn't have to be the loudest because he's the one who can leave at any time and still remain himself. That is quiet dominance. From this moment on, your life splits in two, the public version and the internal reality. Publicly, they see a calm, composed, focused operator. Someone who doesn't gossip, doesn't chase, doesn't break character. Internally, you are a strategist watching every move, recording every pattern, reinforcing your rituals, calling yourself out when you slip. No self-pity, no, maybe someday. Just corrections, adjustments, grades. You will lose people on this path. Those who liked you softer, more compliant, easier to read, easier to use. Let them go. You are not obligated to stay small so others can stay comfortable. You will scare some people by refusing to be guilt-tripped, manipulated, or emotionally blackmailed. Good. You're not here to be digestible. You're here to be respected. Remember this. Your rise will be just as silent as your decline once was. No one will applaud when you start enforcing your standards. No one will thank you for building discipline in the dark. No one will celebrate your self-restraint when you choose strategy over impulse. But months from now, years from now, the same people who ignored you, doubted you, or tried to play you will look up and realize you are no longer on the same level, and they won't be able to pinpoint when it happened. That's the beauty of this transformation. It doesn't need their recognition. It only needs your decision and your consistency. So here's the line in the sand. You either go back to the comfortable, predictable decline, or you walk forward into cold, deliberate power. Choose. And if what you've heard has lit something hard and relentless inside you, don't let it die with this video. Like this, subscribe, and turn on notifications because this is just the initiation. And I'm going to keep putting weapons in the hands of men ready to become untouchable.